Somebody had a block on those road like that. There was part of it that was wrong. They used that granite cleaner and there's oil in that granite. Anything that did not have polish on it, soaked right in, turned the whole stone. They have a big angel on it.
Yes.
So a lot of people try it, but you can tell the people that do it. But we had one lady completely ruined her stone. They doing it.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Don't ever use the granite cleaners.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pro tip.
Well, I'm glad we can get you all squared away. So,
thanks, John.
okay.
Appreciate it.
Should I think the rabbi's coming back? Or we?
Yep. The office has just given us a mic check, making sure.
I'm gonna make a suggestion. We just move the chairs over here, so we're not right on the screen. That'll take us. Oh, I feel like I've spent so much time like. Fashion consultant.
Want to be?
You can hear Beth? Are we live on YouTube?
No, that's what I keep doing. And it's absolutely our hope that our gathering today, for those of us who are here and for those of us who are viewing, that our time together will bring some comfort to Jean's beloved daughter, Karen, with your caring and compassion and open heart, Karen. You so honored your mother, and you continue to do so. Our sympathy to Jean's beautiful granddaughters. I'm so glad to meet Anna and Sophia. I'm sorry it's on this occasion. We send deepest condolences to Jean's twin sister, Joan, in Victoria, who was unable to actually travel to be with us today. Condolences and sympathy to all the family and all the friends near and far in the US and in Canada. And certainly we think today of Jean's son, Paul, by whose grave we sit, as well as Karen's father, Atid. May their memories be for a blessing. So for these reasons, we thank the Almighty, consecrate this time, and continue our service with the recitation of beautiful Psalm 23. And in this way, we link Jean Kaplan's life with the 3,000-year-old tradition of the people Israel and the eternity of God. Mizmor la David Adonai ro'i lo exar benot desha yepartseni al mei menuchot yinachaleni. A Psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, giving me repose in green meadows, leading me beside the quiet waters to revive my spirit, guiding me in right paths, for that is God's essence. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no harm, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a banquet for me in the presence of my foes. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and kindness will be my portion all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of Adonai, our Lord, forever. I adopt words from the poetry of Susanna Holt. With deliberate steps, the cranes stride, indistinct, alert to within, then drive their wings from beneath to clutch the air, and then in unison their sonorous call urges their souls to begin some mercurial, mystical migration toward the seaward wind. Purposeful pose, impetuous bearing, their heads inclined to the sky. With rapid strokes and giant strides, they gather themselves to fly the winds that ignite their desire, their song through their wings in a whisper of promise, with each beat of singular, silent laughter, impelling power that uplifted in spirit drives them beyond the sun, in spite of, in the face of any fears. Their vulnerable natures have begun to heed an inner sound from a greater guardian, a reassurance of their peace. So with grace, Jean's soul has taken flight. She soars with reassurance of her peace. I was not privileged to know Jean Kaplan. I've learned of her story and learned from her values in life by talking with Karen and reading many tributes sent by dear, dear friends and family members. But with your permission, I bring a eulogy now. Born on December 1st, 1935 in Vancouver, British Columbia, Jean and Joan were the twin daughters of Harry and Merle Mounts. The sisters were always close and loving, but although she was the more quiet sister, Jean was the more adventurous of the twins. And once she completed her nursing education in Vancouver, she traveled east to study public health in Montreal. A year spent in the Magdalen Islands in the Gulf of St. Lawrence followed, bringing the adventure and challenge of a remote outpost inaccessible in winter when travel was done by dog sled. Jean returned to nursing in Montreal, where she met Atid Kaplan. and the Big Nickel where I celebrated my 5th birthday. We discovered that our house in Aix-en-Provence was now a high-end Japanese restaurant. And we sat at the Deux Garçons and drank hot chocolate, just as Paul and I had done with Mom and Dad decades before. Over the course of 10 years, it feels like we said a series of goodbyes. We mourned each incremental loss, but even more, we grieved the changing relationship between our generations. But we also loved and laughed. We were filled with the presence that comes with the constant reminder that life is finite. Over time, we let go of what was normal or expected, and we continued to find different ways to express our life. Even during the late stages of dementia, Mom would always greet you with a beautiful, warm smile and grab your hand with the strength of a professional wrestler. She died in much the same way that she lived, peacefully, not wanting to cause trouble for anyone. I didn't think that I had any grieving left in me, but I was overwhelmed by the magnitude of her loss. Over the course of the last year, my memories of the recent past have slowly begun to recede. And instead, I've been filled with the memories of my closest friend and greatest supporter. I can revisit our many shared adventures, such as snorkeling in beautiful clear blue waters, after we both almost drowned laughing until we cried, trying to fix her upside down snorkeling equipment. After that, we explored the ocean together, hand in hand. Together, we trekked through the cloud forests of Costa Rica and visited the wild beauty of the Magdalene Islands, a remote archipelago in the Gulf of St. Lawrence, where she served as a young nurse. This is how I remember my mother. After such a long journey, today feels like a final goodbye. The remains belong with my brother and my father in Denver. Their compassion, strength, grace, and sense of humor traveled with us in our memories and actions, and with all of you. Karen, your words are so beautiful. As Jean's memory is a blessing for you, you are a blessing for her. So touching and so moving and so important. Thank you. I'm very glad now to call upon Jean's granddaughter, Anna. And Anna will read some of the absolutely beautiful words that were sent by Jean's special friends and other relatives to be shared at this time. Anna.
From Doug Lobb, a longtime family friend who's married to Chris, who was one of Jean's closest friends from nursing school. Chris died about a year before Jean, also of dementia. Jean and Ed had been the matchmakers, introducing Doug and Chris in 1969. On the couple's visits, their daughters enjoyed playtime with Karen and Paul too. I read from Doug's memories. Jean was extraordinarily important to Chris. It was her mother, Merle, who got Chris interested in nursing and assisted her in getting financial aid to Vancouver General Hospital, where she and Jean graduated as nurses, before Chris moved to Toronto and ultimately Montreal, and Jean went to the Magdalene Islands before her marriage and residence in Montreal. Life was not easy for Jean, but she managed to persevere with optimism, love, loyalty to her children, and the wisdom liberally associated with humor to her host of friends. The last time I saw her was when she came to a nursing class reunion on a board passenger ship from Vancouver to Astoria, Oregon, and back to Seattle. Fortunately, from that time, her illness made communication difficult. I was able to have periodic phone chats with Jean to catch up remember, laugh, and meet from their varied interests, and life with Karen and the twins, all living in the Washington, D.C. area. To me, Jean had a unique ability to deal with any hardship that came her way. Not only did she face the ordeals, but she also brought both perspective and happy insights to whatever difficulty she faced. When she left Denver to be near Karen and the twins, they became the center of her life and love, no problem. No matter how no matter how difficult and upsetting it may be, could shake her love and joy of that intimate family. James also Johnson wrote a poem that says what I feel about Jean and the impact she made to Chris, me, and our girls. Earth cannot hold our dead away from us. They walk, invisible beside the way we take. They speak in accents of remembered words. They linger still, as they have always been, part of life and love. Jean was a very special mother, grandmother, and friend. Next from Linda Lott, who is Chris and Doug's daughter. I still wish I could be there for your mom's memorial. She was the best auntie. I always loved our visits. They say you have your family, but you choose your friends. Until our moms each succumbed to their personal memory failures, they were the best of friends. Friendships forged at nursing school, which endured for decades, through good times and bad. My sisters and I each have the middle name of Jean, Lynette, and Christine in homage to the love they had for each other. I remember many lox and bagel brunches with your folks in Montreal before you were born. I remember carrying you around as a baby and visiting you in Sudbury. Mom was always so warm and welcoming. She could make my mom laugh like mad. She and your dad were responsible for my mom and dad reconnecting and eventually marrying. Even after you moved to Denver, and then she moved east to be with you and the twins, who she loved so much, I would still get the news on what everyone was up to. I will always remember her lovely smile and the way she made me feel whenever she was around. We will always carry a bit of her within our fabric, and this way she lives on within us. From Daniel Promislow, my cousin. I have such fond memories of Jean's visits with my family. When she came in the door, there was an immediate sense of her loving presence, engaging with genuine kindness and interest even to my little young self as a little boy. From those earliest years, whenever I saw her, felt such an easy connection with her. I wish for you and your girls that your memories of her will always be a blessing in your life. Then from Amy Promislow, my cousin. Jean was always interested and curious and kind. I hope that the incredibly close relationship you shared with her will comfort you. Next from Anita and Stephanie, who were Insight Memory Care Center workers, where Grandma attended for multiple years. Jean was such a gentle, sweet, and kind soul. She was always smiling, and even in her dementia was able to give love. Sorry, I'm diseased. She was such a pleasure to know. We loved talking about nursing and Canada with her at every opportunity. She had a great way with people and always made you feel like she knew and remembered you, even towards the end of her time with us. She would always smile and say things like, I haven't seen you in a while. She was so warm and had that nurse's heart. Jean loved to dance, and I remember her doing some great artwork as well earlier on in her stay. I have so many great memories of Jean that I will keep with me for such a long time to come. She was well loved and cared for by her family and those who loved her. It's from Ruth Kaplan, our cousin. I don't recall how old I was when I met Jean, but it was easy for her to become a welcome, calm, and friendly presence in the lively Kaplan dynamics. I emphasize the word calm. Jean and Ate didn't live in Montreal for that long when I lived there, but I do remember that they had a lot of flair in the classiest apartments and were so hospitable. Jean had an exceptional kindness and quality of fairness. She always remained interested in the extended family of the cousins and multi-generations spread out in various places. It's good to see the best of her and you, Karen, Sophia, and Anna. Next from Elaine and Keith Joseph, who are close family friends. We had not been in touch with Jean for several years when Karen told us that Jean had passed away due to the difficulties she had faced. How could this be? My close friend Jean was a tower of strength, so kind, dignified, so strong. She attended her son's bat mitzvah right after her son's passing, just before he would have been bar mitzvah too. And there was fun. The Kaplans taught us Trivial Pursuit, which we still play, and we spent several New Year's Eves together. We became best friends when they first came to the US. Karen, the grandkids and the memories of Paul kept Jean going. As a dear friend, she was intimate and always ready to share and help. We will always remember her and our days together in Denver. From Diana Joseph, who's the daughter of Keith and Elaine. I remember being at your house in Denver in the evenings. When we were all organized to go, the parents would get to talking in the hallway. The four of us kids would tiptoe off quietly, out of sight and out of mind. By the time they got us organized again, some new topic would fire up the adult conversation, and we'd sneak off for another round. Don't know how they ever got us out of there. Lately, I keep hearing your mom's laugh and seeing her smile, so warm and distinctive. When I think of her now, I think she was one of the most resilient people I've known personally. She went through so much and still kept her capacity of joy, remembering her fondly. Next, from Renee Finlayson, who's our cousin. I have such fond memories of Jean. I remember staying at her apartment in Ottawa for Thanksgiving weekend before she and Atid got married. She was excited to show me her wedding dress. I remember visiting at your parents' apartment on Sherbrooke Street in Montreal. There were some lovely family gatherings and a very special, there were some very lovely family gatherings there. And a very special visit to that apartment when Karen was a brand new baby. Jean seemed to be such a sensible, calm mother, an example I tried to copy. Then we visited the family in February over another Thanksgiving weekend. By this time, we were with our baby Lita. Jean and I spent a lot of time talking about methods of parenting. Again, she was an example for me. Once when visiting in Vancouver, Jean happened to be there too. My cousin Nomi arranged a rendezvous at the airport with Jean. She had a suitcase full of treats and other candy bars that weren't available in Denver for Karen and Paul. What a good mother. Thinking of you all today. And finally, from Ilona Weinstein, our cousin. I've been thinking of Jean a lot. Yesterday, I drove out to read Baudette past her old farm. Everything has changed so much along the whole hour drive from Montreal. Today took me to the past, a time that felt quieter, safer, and cooler. It would have been in those years when we still lived on the farm that Jean appeared to the scene, young and lovely. She brought a fresh feeling of normality, calmness, and steadiness into Atid's life, and really for all of us. She was grounded in the way of the life of Canada. She brought that and her calmness. She brought home and family life for Atid. She brought that diversity, plus her Christian background, to his European and Jewish background. There is rich diversity in your family. I can see her settling Atid down when he was being rambunctious. Now, Cap, she would scold, but her eyes would be smiling. A long time ago, I remember being with her at Bertha's. You and Paul were little. We took you to the park across the street where Bert and Steve used to play. A special memory. Some years after she visited Montreal and the family, and I had a chance to drive her around Montreal to see the old haunts. It was a cool, overcast day, but she loved it. I remember another time, breakfast with all of you on Stanley Street, meeting the new babies. Life for her had its sorrows, but she had so much that she rejoiced in, watching Anna and Sophia grow up. I'm sure she's keeping a grandmotherly eye on them from her pink clouds somewhere beyond time and space.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you for bringing all of those words of tribute to your grandmother. So it's not everyone that has pages of her great grandmother's diary. And that's a very precious keepsake. So I'm so glad now to call upon Sophia, who would like to read aloud some words from a passage from her grandma Howlett's journal that relates the birth of her twin granddaughters, Jean and Joan. Sophia.
A little less than 2 years after Merle and Harry were married, they wrote to ask if I would come to support them in an emergency, but wisely failed to state just how much of an emergency it was. I took the evening train from Penticton the last week in November and on arrival at Merle's home was asked if I had ever had scarlet fever, and if not, was I afraid of it. Harry was down with it, and the doctor was coming right after lunch to take him to the isolation section of the Royal Columbian Hospital. Then, in mid-afternoon, he came back again and took Merle to the maternity ward at the Royal Columbian Hospital. And there was I, in a strange city, a strange house, no company except the germs, and scarcely knowing where the bread box was. After I had been there for a week, a neighbor came and told me I was a grandmother to twin girls. When I went to the hospital, I found Merle a proud but puzzled mother of two. Both Harry and Merle were in the hospital for 4 weeks, Harry coming home one day ahead of Merle. The following afternoon, we brought Merle and the girls home. The twins had spent their first 3 weeks in incubation in the hospital. Joan, the wee one, was 4 pounds, and Jean was over 6 pounds in weight. They were not by any means identical in looks or in disposition. Joan very early learned to smile at whoever talked to her, but not Jean. She would lie and watch you very soberly for a while. Then, if she thought you were worthwhile, she would give you a smile. That was worth waiting for. They carried that same trait through their childhood years and on into adult life, Joan making friends readily, while Jean was very conservative. While they were young, Merle brought them to the Okanagan every year or two, and we enjoyed watching them grow.
Thank you, Sophia. Beautiful, special words. 'Tis a fearful thing to love what death can touch, a fearful thing to love, to hope, to dream, to be, and oh, to lose. A thing for fools, this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing to love what death has touched. Insightful words by a 12th century Spanish Jewish poet, Yehuda Halevi. And it is now time for the burial. Burial is the last physical act that we can do for our loved ones. It is an act referred to in the Hebrew as an act of chesed shel emet, a true and pure kindness and honor. For the deceased can in no way repay this kindness in return. And also, it is important that the harsh reality of burial does help to comfort and start the mourners on the way towards acceptance and reconciliation. Kenny, thank you for lowering. So I invite Karen and Sophia to take 3 shovelfuls of earth and place them in the ground. Sometimes people like to use their hand. Take 3 handfuls if you would like, or use the shovel. Either way. For we are all but dust, and to dust we return. Adonai Natam, Adonai Lachaki, Shem Adonai Mevarach. God has given and God has taken. May the name of our Lord be blessed. Tavo the Shalom. May Jean return to God in peace. This ribbon represents an ancient custom that we read about in the Bible. Job, King David, and so on. When they heard of the death of their loved ones, they actually rendered their clothing and tore their clothing as an expression of the loss. So in your minds today, this little ribbon represents the tearing of the clothing. So I'm going to clean this out. And then I invite you to take the bottom of the ribbon and tear upwards, and you can feel it. And you recite the blessing, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Dayan ha'emet. Praised are you, Lord our God, sovereign of the universe, who is the true judge. An expression that there is so much in this world beyond our comprehension. We don't understand life, illness, death, but we grow to a place of peace in our hearts, a peace of acceptance. So you can return to your seats and remain standing for a few moments. There's a beautiful traditional prayer for the soul of our deceased loved one. And I'll chant this now and then provide a translation to it. Rachamim, shochem b'maramim, amsei menucha nechana, tachatan perashochem, b'ma'alot kedoshim u'tovim, b'zohar harakim masirim, et nishmat Ruth Bat Abraham Basar Shahal Ulama Began Aaron to Haman Yukata Anapa Aharafami Astiraha Beseta Kanafaha La'ulami Utua Bitua Haim Et Nishmata Adonai v'nafata v'tanuach v'shalom v'mishkava v'namar. Amen. O merciful God who dwells in the heavens, grant final rest in your sheltering presence to the soul of Jean Ann Kaplan, Ruth Bat Avraham V'Sara. Grant her rest among the heights of the holy and pure, like the stars of the sky they endure. May Jean live in paradise forever long, and we all say, Amen. Amen. Eternal God, our creator, with the gift of your spirit, we are formed, you take it in return. We acknowledge the complexity of our lives, the challenges you bestow upon us, yet we are also grateful for the many blessings in the life of Jean Kaplan, bowed by sadness, yet comforted by the joys in her life. Her mourners turn to you at this time, seeking solace and light. Lord of compassion, grant them consolation and strength, reinforce their faith, for you are our rock and redeemer. And we turn now to the traditional mourner's Kaddish. I invite you to recite with me. Yikadal, Yikadash, Shemei Rabbah, Bioma, Dibra, Hirute, Viamlith Malchute, B'chayechon, V'yomechon, V'chaye, Dekol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala Uvizman Kari, V'yimaru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach, Leolam Omei Omaya. Yitbarak, V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitromam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shemei Dukudashad, V'rechu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran v'yoma v'yimaru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ya'kol Yisrael v'yimaru. Amen. Osei shalom b'momav v'ya'asei shalom aleinu v'ya'kol Yisrael v'yimaru. Amen. May God's great name grow exalted and sanctified in the world created according to the heavenly will. May God's great name be blessed forever and ever, praised, glorified, extolled, mighty, upraised, and lauded be the name of the Holy One, beyond any blessing and song and consolation that is uttered in this world. May there be abundant peace from heaven and life bestowed upon us and upon all. May the Holy One who makes peace in the heights grant peace to us. And once more, we say, I lifted my eyes to the mountains. From where will my inspiration come? My wisdom comes from the maker of heaven and earth. We are strengthened and upheld. Our feet will not give way. Our guardian will not slumber. The guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. For the sun warms us by day and the moon and stars guide us at night. And we will not fear the darkness. By the light of our lives, we will be guarded in our going out and our coming in from this time forth and forevermore. Death was a transition for the living as well as for the soul of the one who passed away, and your lives were changed